Being just Juicy here, bringing you your inner circle content. And today we're doing a bit of a learning webinar on the screenings. So what we're going to do is bring you the weekly screenings that we do here at Worcester, and just talk you through what we do, why we do it, and all that sort of thing. So you can get a little bit of an insight and maybe use a couple on yourself or with any players you work with, and just so you see what we do basically. So let's dive in. So what is it? Okay, so the way we keep tabs basically on how players are physically, um, what we need to do is use data in the right way, and we don't want to get too much of it, but we want to sort of dive deep where it's needed, so we can get a bit of a physical map, if you want, and just see what's going on. What they are is very simple tests, easy to administer, and to do a lot of them with a player takes 5 minutes tops. So we do them once a week, and try and do that as religiously as we can. Obviously, with timetables and stuff, first team we can do it. Second team, young lads, a little bit harder, but we try to get it done. And each test gives us very crucial information, which we can use with the players and use with the coaches to inform any conditioning, bowling workloads, things like that. If someone's a lot down, then we know that we need to back off and try and get these data points back up. So then we know they're in a good place physically and out of the red zone, the famous red zone. So let's dive in. Also, they set a baseline in pre-season. So we know after we've done the winter and we're getting into the end of March, start of April time, we do the final sort of testings, and these are the ones for us that are bigger tests than the yo-yo and the sprints and all that sort of stuff, because these are something which tell us actually how the body's mechanically working, which is something we need to know. And during the weeks, what we want to do is each one to be within 5% of that baseline. So any more than that, we think that is a drop off, and then we raise the red flag, dive deeper, see what's going on. And we add bowling workloads as well, so we can look at the whole picture overall in sort of a more holistic approach. And like I say, it gives us a complete picture. We need to know what the hell's going on with everyone. Especially someone like me who's very much into this sort of thing, and my prime directive is to A, make sure the players are fit to play, and B, to be playing as well as possible. There's no point playing or being fit to play and just sort of puffing the ball out. So we need to make sure we're covering as many bases as possible here. And it also is easy to show the players and coaches. Bang, we do it on a spreadsheet, so it's in there, and we can be showing everyone straight away. It's easy to see, easy to implement. So the test, what are the tests we use? We've got ankle dorsiflexion, we've got the grip test, we've got anterior slide, we've got the squeeze, we've got the hip internal rotation, thoracic rotation, and the CMJ, the counter movement jump. So let's just dive in. We're just going to go through each one, see a video of each one, and then I'll talk through it slightly. So first, ankle dorsiflexion, we talked about this before. Let's have a look at a video. So basically, so simple. So you've got a ruler against a wall. We've got a cabinet there because we've not got many walls. And basically, how far away from that wall can you get the knee to the wall, keeping the foot straight, the hips facing forward, and the heel down. Okay, so that's so simple. All you need is a 99p ruler from Woolworths and a wall. So why do we do it? So basic, first out the gate, gives us a lower body mobility reading. We know ankle mobility is a big thing we need to get right. If that's not right, then we potentially get in hip, knee, and back issues. So it gives us a good score there. But it's not just about the ankle, okay? It's about looking over the whole, not just lower body, but up into the hips and trunk as well. So if the ankle's down, there's other things we can do to see, is it just the ankle? I know I did a article on it a few weeks ago. So is it definitely the ankle, or is it other things? So a very simple one you can do there. If it's down, then go to a half kneeling position and do the same. If you get the same reading, then you can zero in on the ankle. If you go half kneeling and you get higher, and you think, okay, there's problems higher up. And I would say, so if it is lower, so we do the standing one, and it's used to be 8 centimeters, now it's 5. And we go, okay, what's going on here? We go half kneeling one, and then it goes back to 8. We think, okay, so we took the pelvis out, and the score went up. So there's not actually a mobility issue here at the ankle. So something's going on around the hip and trunk area. And we correlate with Bolton load. You know, if they've got a high Bolton load and the scores go down, again, we think mechanical. At one point of how to administer, make sure the hips are square, make sure the heel stays down. Players will always try and cheat. And all you need is a ruler, 99p ruler, WH Smith's or wherever, Amazon, bang, you can do it every day. The grip test. Now, the grip test machine, let's have a little look. Very simple. Stand the side of your body, squeeze as hard as you can for 3 seconds, and it will come up with a score. Okay, very simple. I got this bit kit from eBay, actually. It was a bit cheaper to get it from eBay. I think it was about 30 quid. I got it about 5 years ago. So have a hunt around. Hand dynamometer. Is that what I call it? Something like that. But yeah, I just put hand grip test on eBay, and it should come up with some stuff. Very, very simple. So why do we do this one? This one, more than anything, it's great for fatigue. I did a course probably about 2011 now with Phil Richards, the nutrition guy and ex S&C, and it was one that he gave me initially, saying that they used to use it with the rugby players just for a basic fatigue index. There's other things you can do with it as well. It is in testing some shoulder function. So if you hold it at your side, like we just showed you there, and it's one score, and you hold it above the head and it's a different score, we know there's possibly some issues going on around the scapular, shoulder, sort of upper quartile complex. So there's different things you can do with it, but for this, basic good fatigue index. And grip can be related to mobility, okay? There's different things you can do and play around, is in looking over the shoulder you're not doing it with. So if you've got it in your right hand, look over your left shoulder and do it. And if it's lower or higher there, then we know there's some mobility issues going on. So it's not just fatigue. We can be using it for other things as well. Like I said, we can test in different ranges, at your side, out in front, up above the head, loads of different ways, but I just normally stick to the side. And if there is a big drop off, we know there's an indicator of fatigue. Okay, so what we're not looking for here is like an overall power score, but it's more of whatever their score is, keeping it the same or going up. If it goes down, red flag. The anterior slide, let's have a little look. So the FMS board, and all it is now is an attachment that goes above it. So one leg on, and we're pushing it forward, and we have to get back under control. And all we do then is take a measurement of where it is. So what we do is the guys have 3 goes, and then we take the measurement both sides. So why do we do this one? First start out the gate, great lower body motor control test. There's not enough motor control tests out there, and it's absolutely key that we get this right. Now the anterior slide, if someone can go that far on the anterior slide, then that would probably correlate with a very small delivery stride as well. Okay, so if you've got someone who can't go far and they've got a small delivery stride, just telling them to try to lengthen that delivery stride isn't going to work, because they have not got the motor control capabilities for them to do that safely. So the brain's going to shut them down. Okay, simple as that. So try and correlate the two well. And what it does, it pulls up any asymmetry issue. Okay, so left and right. If there's a big issue left and right, and what we do, if there's over a 2 centimeter difference, we dive deeper. So if left's 29 centimeters and right's 33, alarm bells. What it tells us is a pelvic problem. Okay, so the pelvis isn't level, there's not enough symmetry, could lead to massive issues. Simple and easy. Okay, this is so simple. Obviously, the FMS kit is about £100 or something like that. But again, you could almost just have a your bowling measure, tape measure, and put a slider by it. You know, it's very simple to do, and can be very effective. Like I said, if you've got someone who's got a very big sort of over 5 centimeters discrepancy left to right, red flag, you can guarantee they're going to have an issue around either the hammies, hips, or lower back. The adductor squeeze. Now, we've not talked about this before, but this is one we do. Let's have a little look. Basically, we've got the cuff in between the knees, and all the player does is squeeze as hard as he can for 3 seconds again, and it gives us a readout. Okay, very, very simple, straightforward, easy to do. Now, the thing with this is it's not a groin test. Okay, people see it and say, well, what's the point in that? It's a groin test. It's really not. Again, it's another fatigue index, okay? Because it's not just your groin doing it. We're going right into the trunk there, it goes to the upper body as well. And everything's switched on when you're doing this. But squeezing as hard as possible. And there's a lot of cross-body function. With the oblique slings, they start with the adductors. You know, they come to the adductors, go for your thoracolumbar, up into your lat. And so this can tell us, is there anything going on up here? If the adductors are weak and they're not firing as well as they should be, then bang, okay, right, something's not working and it's not the adductors. So what's not driving these adductors to work? There's a massive problem indicator. If someone's getting regularly about 280 and they're down to 210, but then on the grip test they're still fine, we're thinking, okay, so it's not really a fatigue test. Now we've got to look somewhere else, okay, which is a beauty when you have a few markers, you can almost cross-pollinate. So if we've got a couple of fatigues, one's fine, one's changed, you think, okay, well, what's changing this then? It's not fatigue, because on this other test he's fine. Where do I need to look? And for this, you look straight in the oblique sling. What's going on there? Hip internal rotation, we talk a lot about. Very simple test. So line on the front, the fizz sits on them to lock the pelvis. So we just get a true hip internal rotation. So the leg comes up to 90 degrees and he's got a measuring device there. But you can do this with your iPhone and the compass. Okay, very simple. As long as you've got a way of doing it and taking a consistent reading, everyone can do it. So that's the hip internal rotation. Again, why do we do this? Insight into trunk control and stability. Okay, massive, absolutely massive hip internal rotation. Bowlers with bad backs, they just can't get this, especially if you're right arm bowler, your left side internal rotation is normally down. So it gives us great insight. And it's not necessarily a mobility issue. If it's down, don't just send someone off with a band to try and pull the hell out of it, because it's down because the body's protecting it. So let's have a look again. What is the issue? And it can work up the chain. So if not hip, if we've got a bit of a trunk reactive problem. So if it's down, what I'd go from there is maybe look into their rolling patterns, left and right. Can they move from their back to their front with just the upper body rolling patterns, then just the lower body? If you've got a no on any of them, okay, bang, we're going into a reactive trunk problem. Okay, so look to things like that. Again, or you can go side plank. Can they do a clean 1 minute each side plank? No. Okay, we've got a trunk problem. Get the trunk right, and we found that the hip internal rotation just increases naturally. Okay? And like I say, if it's down, concerned about the lower back. For me, the hip internal rotation is a bigger indicator or bigger red flag for low back problems than the dorsiflexion. But dorsiflexion's got a lot of studies and things like that. But if I actually study and look into the hips, there'll be a lot more understanding about how we need to be getting the hips right. And if we get the hips right, then we know we've got the trunk right, and then we can lessen these instances of stress fractures, which don't just happen. Okay, people say they just happen. They don't just happen. They happen with poor reactive trunk control, poor movement patterns, and that equals normally poor technique, and they shear. Okay, the back just shears down. So let's just get them right. The CMJ, so the counter movement jump, very simple. I mean, this is one to be quite harder for you guys to implement if you've not got a mat, but you also got the things where you can have a wall with a tape measure at the wall, and how high can you jump and touch, something like that. Okay, that's what we used to do at school and stuff. So basically, steps on, and he uses the whole body to come up and down. You can see him checking the score right away. They love doing that. Some people use it as just pure lower body, put hands on the hips, but I quite like to see, okay, can we use the whole chain with the arms up, down, and how high can they get? Okay, again, we just compare all the time, compare. Now, this is one of the big ones that drops as soon as they're into quite a lot of overs. So what does it tell us? Total overall power output is the most simple thing. So how do they express their power? Mechanical function as well. And you look at the whole chain. So is there a problem with how they jump? Sometimes you just teach someone how to land and how to jump, and they can put on 10 centimeters in 10 minutes. You know, a lot of people don't actually, they bypass the whole jump mechanics and go straight to weights, where you need to teach them how to land, how to express force, and things like that. And again, another fatigue index. If you've got the grip down, you've got the squeeze down, you've got this down, you go to the coach and you say, whoa, 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 this lad's fried. We need to get him back. He needs a little bit of a rest, needs some restoration work, and then we can come back. So that's why. Now the counter movement jump, if I had everything in the world that I wanted, I would probably use a broad jump instead. But this, the counter movement jump just gives us a little bit better data, as in direct to the computer, and it's less room for error, so to speak. So, you know, always I'd use a horizontal jump rather than a vertical jump, just because of the basis of bowling, but it still gives us good outputs and all these things. Thoracic rotation, the last one. Very simple. So this time the physio tries to block off that lumbar, and with the same measurement tool as we use with the hip internal rotation, bang, he puts it on in between the shoulder blades and measures thoracic. So again, very simple, fairly easy to implement. General back health, okay, is one of the first things. Not just lower back, so we go into the shoulders and neck as well. And we know if it's down, we can check all around the area. And if it is down, we know intervention is needed. And again, we don't just jump into mobility. What we need to do is look around. Again, that trunk, is that trunk working well? The rolling tests, are they working? And getting all that sort of stuff right. When you do it, make sure you lock the pelvis down so you do get a true thoracic rotation expression. And one of the big things with the thoracic rotation, which we've seen since we brought this in the last 4 years, is we've managed to go up from probably around 35 degrees each side, and now the bowlers are getting around between 65 to 80 degrees each side, which is massive. Okay, absolutely massive. Again, if it's down, bang, we need to look at lower back, what's going on. So to summarize it all up, all the tests are important, and hopefully that's sort of come across in the fact that we said what we do is so if one's down and one's not, we can look at the whole thing and say, okay, is there a problem, or is this just a one-off like thing with the testing, or what is it? Is it mechanical? Is it fatigue? And we go into lots of detail like that. Make the test quick and easy. If you want to just do 2 or 3 on yourself or players, you can do it, and you can do it weekly. You can do it daily if you want to. But we find weekly is pretty good, but make them quick and easy to administer. Look, like we said, look for patterns. Don't dive in. You know, like we said, if the hip's down, don't have some sod pulling the arse out of the hip with a band. Just look and think, okay, what's actually needed here? Look around. Remember, what we're here for is to ask questions. So come to, like say, Juzia, we've got this player. He's down 10 degrees on his hip internal rotation, left side, right arm bowler. His dorsiflexion is fine, is up. His counter movement jumps fine. That's just this one thing, that what can we do? And then we can give you 2 or 3 little things to go look at and then work on. So use us a lot more, okay? And keep the player informed. Really important that they know what's going on, why they're doing it, and hopefully they'll ask questions as well. And if they do, you can tell them exactly why you're doing what you're doing and how it's going to help them. And one of the most important thing, use the down data. Okay, you've got it there, use it. It's one of the worst things you see, and you see a lot of clubs doing it. They take mounds and mounds of data, and it's just sat there doing absolutely sweet FA. Pointless. Pointless for the player, pointless for the coaches, pointless for the physio and S&C, just pointless all round. Get data that you're going to use. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. Okay, so that's it. Any questions you've got, please fire them at us, and we will get right on it. So great stuff. See you soon.